Hey, what's up guys? Today we're going to do an install video of brake pads on a Toyota Highlander. It's a 2003. This should fit for the 2000 to 2007 models. The reason I'm doing this video is because I think that the brakes themselves are one of the most overcharged things in the world. Brake pads, they cost almost nothing, rotors almost nothing. And when you get your brakes done, these places charge a fortune. So I wanted to give people with general knowledge skills, with tools, a do-it-yourself video so you can save yourself a whole lot of money. I also want to throw in that this is one of the worst brake pads I've ever seen. It has 100,000 miles in the back, has never been changed. I'll give you guys a shot of that. You'll see later in the video. About a 1/16 of the metal's gone. There's no pad left at all. So let's get into it. Tools you will need: a jack stand, something to get your lugs off with, the actual brake pads themselves, grease for the pins. We'll go over this in a little bit. Brake parts cleaner, and a socket set, and possibly brake fluid. That's it. First step is to open the hood and remove the brake fluid cap. That way, when we push the piston back in, the fluid will have, the air will be able to escape so the fluid level can come up. Alright, this is the front of the car. We have got the wheel and tire off, so we want to take the caliper bolts off. Find one on the top right here, and one on the bottom right here. Take those two off, and that'll allow us access to the pads. One of the tips for removing the caliper bolts that could be really tight, I like to use like a wrench or a socket. And what I'll do is I'll put the wrench on the nut, and you'll feel, even though you got the right size, you just got a little tiny bit of play. So take that play, and if you want to loosen it, pull it toward the loosening side. That way that play is gone. And when it's pulled, then you can give it a tap with a hammer. I use just a mini sledge here. And you want to use something steel, that way it gets the impact. And not like a slam, just a little tap down while pulling against the way you should be. And don't use rubber, because that gets rid of the impact itself. It gets absorbed into the head. Now we have access to the pads, and when you take the caliper off, you want to sit it on top of the wheel and make sure it's not hanging by the brake line itself. Keep the weight off that line. There'll be a pad in the front and the back. Just pull these right off. Sometimes you might need a screwdriver to pry them out of there. I'll have little clips that also might fall out of there. Make sure you pay attention to where those are. Alright, now you got the old pads versus the new. Notice the thickness of the old pad. Versus the new pad. There's nothing left but the metal here on these. Here's another shot of the new pad versus the old pad. You see it's grinding on the metal there. Alright, you're going to have to push that piston back in the caliper. There's a lot of different ways you can do that. I'm going to use just a junction box and a C-clamp. Squeeze it back in there. You use anything, C-clamp and anything. You use a C-clamp and a wrench, anything. Here we go. See, I put the flat surface, which is just a junction box, over top of the piston, and then a C-clamp, and I'll just simply turn it now, which I'll need 2 hands to do. You'll see this piston here will retract back into the caliper itself. All right, this is a rusty one. I've been doing this a long time, and that thing was out far. It took forever to get it back in there. It was out like an inch. Now I can see it's flush back with the caliper. Go ahead and use the brake cleaner. Real quick, I just wanted to go over this product here. I was recommended this a long time ago. I've done brake jobs in the past where they've squeaked a little, and ever since the person told me about this, they haven't. I don't know if it's because of this product or because I'm starting to use better pads, but I keep on using it because it seems to work. It's CRC Disc Brake Quiet. I got it from AutoZone or Pep Boys, one of the two. You can probably find it online. It's like a liquid rubber in a can, and you put it anywhere where the brake is not making contact with the rotor itself. Next, a very important step is you have these pins here that control your actual caliper. So we want to take those out. Pull the rubber bushing off. Pull it out. And the one on the top, you see it's a little seized up there. Pull it out. All right, now we're gonna use that grease we had to grease them up. You can get this same place you get the brake pads. You'll just need a couple of them to do the whole car. Now we're going to take our pin, slide it back in the hole. Make sure that booty pops back into place. All right, I can just slide the caliper back on. Put the bolts back in. All right, if you're new to this, you're having problems getting the caliper back on, the actual pin you took out is shaped. Let me see if I get the thing in focus. The actual pin you took out is shaped to where it wants to fit flush on this side and it's rounded on the other side. So you got to make sure it lines up or that caliper won't go on there. So that might be your problem. Front's done. Remember I told you we needed room for all the fluids and the air to get out of there? We've done one brake in this car. If you can remember what it was before, now it's about to overflow already. And there's a leaf in there which we'll get out. All right, the back brake, there's gonna be a bolt on the bottom. It's all rusted up, so I put it on there so you can see. We're gonna undo that bolt. Then the top is gonna hinge. So after we take that bolt off, that caliper's gonna hinge up and we can change the pads. So let's get to it. There's the hinge. No need to remove this completely. I'll just leave it popped up like that. Push the caliper in, change the pads. Good to go. All right, again, you can see there's the old. It was grinding on the metal. There's no pad left. And the new with all the pad. Forgot to tell you guys, always replace this hardware. It stops with the squeaking. It only costs a couple bucks. If this was my car, I would replace the rotor, but it's not my car. They don't really want to replace it now. They don't have the option with the finances and stuff, so we'll go ahead reinstall. All right, just like I showed you guys before, we got to get this piston on the back set in. A little more complicated, so I'm going to use the C-clamp and this junction box cover that I got. We're going to arrange it in there. It's so thick that the C-clamp won't work unless you have a really big one. So I'll show you how we do that. All right, it wouldn't go all the way over the caliper, so we just went to right there. We went through the little opening hole there, and we've got it clamped just like so. So we'll go ahead and push that down. All right, on that back rotor, you can take it, lift it up, pull it back. You'll see there's a piston there. I want to grease that up too. So we'll grease it up, pull it back on. Now the reservoir has completely overflowed and leaked all over the driveway, which I knew was going to happen, and still didn't put anything down. But we got to get it down to that max fill line right there. How are we going to do that? Every good garage should have a turkey baster. So let's do it. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked it, leave a like, comment, subscribe. If you didn't like it, check my channel. I've got all kinds of cool people down there. Watch YouTubers all the time. I'm addicted to it. I've got the most hilarious people down there. Ed Bassmaster, check him out. Fail Army, hilarious. Danny Duncan, all of them. Good time, hours of fun. Thanks for stopping by. See you guys.